Let's be honest. We've all fallen into the inescapable vortex of the social media scroll at some point. Those tantalizing glimpses into seemingly perfect lives play out like a dizzying kaleidoscope before our eyes. One swipe unveils an influencer frolicking on a sun-drenched Balinese beach, the next a red carpet radiant, with the blinding flashes of the paparazzi's bulbs, brand endorsements, luxury vacations, and award show extravaganzas bombard our senses in a never-ending spectacle of hashtag goals. In these meticulously curated digital worlds, it's all too easy to be lured into believing that everyone else's existence is a highlight reel, while our own lives play out in endless outtakes on the cutting room floor. The intoxicating allure of joining the charm circle, of basking in those gilded spotlights for just an instant, can be powerfully seductive. We crave the chance to showcase our own highs, to let the world know we're also living our best lives. So think of this as a cautionary tale. The story of Landi Praga, a beautiful young woman whose life ended tragically after a harmless social media post. In this episode of Truest Crime, we'll peel back the layers of this case, exposing the dark underbelly where beauty, fame, and deadly secrets collide. This is Truest Crime, where the truth is often more terrifying than fiction. On a fateful Sunday, Landi Paraga, a former Miss Ecuador contestant, innocently shared a photo of her meal on Instagram, unaware it would be her final post. Within minutes, a gunman stormed the restaurant where she dined, swiftly firing multiple rounds, one striking her head while 5 others ravaged her body. As the cowardly assailant fled, Paraga's lifeless form remained, her tragic death captured on CCTV in its horrific entirety. In the wake of this chilling act of violence, a torrent of unanswered questions linger, haunting reminders of the fragility of life in an era where digital footprints can have devastating consequences. Who was the killer? Did they act on their own? Were they sent? What was the motive? Was Landi expecting this? Just how much did her Instagram story upload contribute to the unfortunate series of events? Before we delve into what is known about the tragic situation, let's answer a simple question. Who was Landi Paraga? As mentioned earlier, Landi was a former contestant in the Miss Ecuador beauty pageant. She gained some level of recognition through her participation in the pageant, but she wasn't a household name or a widely known figure outside of certain circles. The 23-year-old studied social communication at the Universidad Técnica de Babahoyo, UTB, and was actively involved in social activities at a gerontological center in her hometown. Living in Santo Domingo, Ecuador, she embarked on a journey into beauty pageants, starting as queen of her parish and eventually becoming Miss Mesoamerica Ecuador 2022. She also participated in Miss Ecuador 2022, where she represented Los Rios province and reached the 5th finalist position. At the time of her death, Landi was very active on social media, particularly on Instagram, where she shared glimpses of her life with her 173,000 followers. Her posts mainly consisted of typical influencer content, pictures of meals, outings, and perhaps some sponsored posts, promoting various products or services. Besides being an influencer, she also owned a renowned home goods store and a sportswear brand. Landi resided in Cavejo, situated southeast of Quito, the capital city of Ecuador. Faced with this image of Landi's life in person, it's hard to conjure any tangible reasons for why her life was cut short at a shopping center in Cavejo. However, Landi's purported ties to Ecuadorian drug trafficker Leandro Naredo brings a new perspective to the situation. Over the past 20 years, Ecuador has become embroiled in drug-fueled organized crime. As it grew more difficult for drug traffickers in Colombia to transport cocaine straight to the United States, they looked elsewhere, namely Ecuador. And because of that, the country transitioned into a significant cocaine processing and distribution hub, with several international and local groups fueling these activities. Leandro Narejo, also known as El Patron, was a central figure in Ecuador's drug trafficking scene. He amassed considerable wealth and power through his criminal activities, becoming one of the most influential drug lords in the region. His influence extended beyond the drug trade, with significant corruption within the Ecuadorian state, as uncovered by Operation Metastasis. Operation Metastasis aimed to dismantle criminal networks, corrupting Ecuadorian officials. During the investigation, authorities discovered messages on Narejo's phone, regarding Landy Paraga. The investigation uncovered text exchanges between Narejo and his alleged criminal associate, Jalive Angulo. "If my wife comes across anything about her, I'm screwed," Narejo reportedly said in a text, going on to add, "My friend, her name cannot come out anywhere. Otherwise, my world will come crashing down." The investigation also unearthed photos of Landy and evidence of extravagant gifts from Narejo to her, such as apartments and luxury cars, indicating a relationship that went beyond mere acquaintance. These findings suggest that Landy was not just a peripheral figure, but was significantly involved in Narejo's world, potentially even benefiting from his illicit activities. Because of her connection to the drug trafficker, Landy's businesses, including a sports clothing label and goods importing venture, are also being investigated as potential fronts for Narejo's illicit activities. Interestingly, Narejo himself died in a prison riot about 18 months ago, although the exact details of his death remain shrouded in mystery. The body was so charred that it was impossible to confirm his identity definitively, leading to speculation and conspiracy theories about whether he still might be alive. The conspiracy theories aren't exactly unfounded, as Narejo did fake his death once before. This was an attempt to evade capture during the COVID-19 pandemic. The tactic briefly threw authorities off his trail. However, he was eventually captured and imprisoned. Going back to Landy's death, authorities are yet to deliver a concrete explanation as to the motives. In the meantime, all kinds of theories are flying around. Some believe Landy's death might have been a targeted hit due to her connections with Narejo, possibly a way to send a message to others involved in the drug trade, or as part of a power struggle within the criminal underworld. Others suggest it could be a case of mistaken identity, or a tragic consequence of being too closely associated with a notorious figure. Also, given Narejo's clear concern about keeping his relationship with Landy Paraga a secret from his wife, Lina Romero, some people believe Narejo's now widow may have ordered a hit on the social media influencer. It's worth noting Lina Romero has also been implicated in criminal activities. Reports suggest she attempted to bribe judges and prosecutors, indicating her deep involvement in the criminal network led by her husband. Another theory addresses neither the motives nor the identity of those behind Landy's murder, but the role of social media in her death. As we noted earlier, Landy innocently shared a picture of her meal on Instagram just 20 minutes before she was fatally shot. Some believe that this seemingly harmless act of posting her location online may have inadvertently led her killers to her. This theory suggests that Landy's social media activity, particularly her Instagram post, played a crucial role in her tragic fate. Think of it like this. When you share something on social media, like a photo or a status update, it's like sending out a signal to the world about where you are and what you're doing. For most of us, this might not seem like a big deal. We share pictures of our meals, check-ins at our favorite spots, or updates about our daily lives without giving a second thought. But in Landy's case, that Instagram story upload may have tipped off someone with malicious intent about her whereabouts. It's important to recognize that Landy's story is one example among many others that don't receive the same level of attention. Everyday people around the world share bits and pieces of their lives on social media without fully realizing the potential risks involved, where individuals unwittingly reveal sensitive information about themselves online, from sharing vacation photos that disclose their absence from home, to posting updates about attending events or outings. These seemingly innocuous actions can inadvertently put people in vulnerable situations. Since Landy's death, there have been several comments on her social media accounts bemoaning the circumstances of her passing. The influencer's body was carried to her hometown in Quevedo, where she was laid to rest on April 29th. The brutal murder of Ecuadorian influencer Landy Paraga serves as a horrific wake-up call about the perils of oversharing in the digital age. Her senseless killing, allegedly facilitated by revealing her location on Instagram, underscores how our online footprints can render us vulnerable to those with malicious intent. While social media connects us, Paraga's fate reminds us to exercise prudence in what we broadcast to the world. As we share snippets of our lives online, we must remain vigilant about the information we divulge and the potential consequences of our digital trails. Only by adopting a more guarded approach can we hope to mitigate the toxic mix of unchecked oversharing and violence that tragically cut short one young life. So what do you think? Did Landy Paraga's digital footprints inadvertently pave the way for her tragic demise? Or were darker forces at play, beyond the realm of social media? We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. For more in-depth explorations of the human condition in its darkest corners, subscribe to Truest Crime. where the truth is often more terrifying than fiction.